Another day, another league. We're trying the same four cards again today. Um, they worked a little bit better yesterday than day one, so I want to not really make any decisions on them and want to increase the sample size with them just a bit more before I come to a decision. I'm still leaning towards Rivulets. I'm actually leaning towards going to a third, and I'm leaning towards going back to the Meltdowns, or at least going back to three Meltdowns, maybe one Glare. But that's where I'm leaning at the moment. This hand's gas. I wonder how many people immediately turn off of a stream when they hear the term gas. Anyway, we'll keep. Oh wait, I need to make sure I'm not on the play. F6 a couple of turn ones when I was on the play the other night because I wasn't really paying attention where I've been talking. This card is mostly here because the mono red decks are so threatening, but even versus the mono red decks, they actually do a decent amount. I gotta put my stops back in. They actually do a decent amount even versus the non red decks. So I want my stops back. These stops kind of suck and they kind of waste a lot of time, but I played with them for so many years that it's hard to get used to not playing with them. And I have something on my glasses, so give me one moment. What's up, James? What's up, Sean? I'm back. Sorry about that. There's something on my glasses. You drafting tonight, James? Probably Meltdown nearly anything he plays here just because it's the most efficient use of my mana going into next turn while letting myself leave up Supreme Will. If he played something extremely inconsequential, I guess I wouldn't, but that's good enough to hit. Nice. Now we have the Fumigate to land away anyway. Have the Supreme Will to get the big boy if he's got it. Do you not like draft, or are you just not caring? I guess we'll keep the cast out and let that resolve. We'll probably just cast out at the end of next turn. May not even bother to cast out it now. Really depends on what he does with his turn. There's a decent chance that I'll cast out it. That's just probably not that decent of a chance that I'll cast out it. Sure, Bristling Hydra resolves. And we're going to look for a land on our next three draw steps so we can fumigate. Still have three cards in hand, but versus that style of deck, there's a large percentage chance that one of those three cards at least is a removal spell. He can't crew to Eversphere Harvester when anything comes into play, so that's kind of a cute little thing about this authority here. The only cards that would really suck here is like additional Bristling Hydras. Fair. I know Rob and Gunner are going. I think Mark was considering going, but he hadn't made his decision yet. Excuse me. My allergies are crushing me today. I'm sure that sounded horrible. try to get to the mute button a little better occasionally. Just tapping red, red. Yeah, just Chandra. Well, we have these cast outs, so at least we have protection for that. We have mana up for his Glorybringer that can attack. Ah! Yeah, Bristling Hydra is a little on the annoying side here, but it's not super on the annoying side. Like, we can probably beat a Bristling Hydra before it kills us in theory. Between the Blessed Alliances and the Fumigates, like, we'd have 7 answers to try to beat a Hydra. Rogue Refiners and more Chandras are his best cards. I guess Scarab God if he's playing that build, but he didn't tutor for the swamp, so he's either A, has it in hand and is concealing the information, or B, isn't playing that build at all. We will find out post-haste. Little 40 to councils. Thank you, thank you. This little 40 to councils does so much inconsequential work versus the non-red decks. I have been tempted to play the 3rd and the 4th main deck. But I know the second I do, I'm just going to get paired versus tons of islands and be so disappointed in it. Actually on kind of a tight schedule today. I don't know if we'll be able to finish this entire league. Especially at the pace of play that we're currently going at. We're just going to glare it. Poor Glorybringer, to the afterlife you go. I'd also glare this. I don't even care. Actually, I'd probably cast out this. I'd probably take 3 and cast out of the EOT. Get glared. And Zephyr Meltdown's the exact same in that spot, so like that's not a point for glare. They did the exact same thing there. That's a good one. Yeah. Yeah, I wish I'd got to sit around and watch us play a little, but we'll take what we can get. Ronus, you, sir, are a real card. In this matchup, anyway. I don't believe that Ronus is a very good card in Standard, but I do believe it's a good card in this matchup. We'll look for a land, look for an approach, we'll look for all the things that make us smile. Alright, well, we'll just pass turn. Well, a Blessed Alliance and or a Meltdown, depending upon what he attacks with. I got a host from Mana Traders for like 66, I think, as well yesterday. As many hosts as I got yesterday, I had 1 new follower. Has nobody wanted to stick around and watch us approaching on folks. Everybody's done tired of the approach. Yeah, he's streaming Scarab Teamer God right now. He's a pretty good player. I was watching him while I was eating breakfast before I fired my stream up. His name's Holy Shamgar, I believe is how you pronounce it / spell it. But we all know me. I'm a super redneck, so grain of salt anytime I say how to spell and or pronounce something. I'm not going to get rid of this cast out. It's the last cast out we have. And he could resolve another Chandra and then we'd be in massive amounts of trouble. I want to land. Didn't really care about the sensor. It's obviously not a good card at this point in the game. So cards that could be bad for us right now. Bristling Hydra is bad for us, and additional Rogue Refiners are bad for us, and Chandras are bad for us. Pretty well, other than that, as long as he's not playing the Scarab build of the deck, Scarab God would be bad for us, which I don't think he's playing Scarab God. I'm going to say, literally any other card that he plays is a card I don't care about. I don't care about those cards too much either. I was just spitballing to generally say words, because words. Well, we'll take the one. We'll take the Sweet Sensor. Untap, go into turn 10 with the Sweet Sensor we just got. Not going to use the sensor. I'm going to, well, I don't know. I guess I'll go ahead and censor now. Still have mana for the Blighted Cataract. I'll spit it out. Nah, I'm not worried about Scarab God. Scarab God's a mere mortal, and I am the Ray. Sure. I was thinking about holding Censor because if he attacked with both of these, we could beat a Bristling Hydra, but I'm not that concerned about it. Really, just don't think we're losing to his board very often here. Alright, so I'm assuming the last card in his hand is a removal spell because he's held it the whole game. Draw 2 cards. Neither of those 2 cards win. With the amount of mana we have, probably Censor first. Rip. Alright. More rip. Well. Things are not going as planned. I could cast a Meltdown this turn, but I'm not going to. We're just going to cycle and draw an additional 2 cards. Oh, he's screwing with that one? I could Meltdown that one. I guess I will Meltdown that one. Take the 6 on the ground and be done with it. We got a hit. I wasn't paying much attention. I don't actually know where we put that glimmer, but or what we did with the glimmer. So like, don't actually know how deep we are into the deck at the moment. But we're definitely approaching, or well, it's kind of funny that I drew approach when I was getting ready to say when we're approaching drawing our approach. What timing, Moto? What timing? So now we're 7 cards down, and like we literally still just have all the time in the world between the Blessed Alliance and the 40 of the councils and the additional cast out. I mean, we can still lose, but certainly not in bad shape right now. Like if he drew exactly like something with a lot of power that he can play with that last 4 or 5 mana or whatever you'll have, that would be a little good for him. Yeah. So that's actually pretty good for him. Because that thing hits hard. Well, we have a lot of extra mana. And it's 6 cards down. So we have 4 and 4. So this card is a 3 cycle. We can't use our mana anyway. And now it's 5 cards down. Which means we draw it on our following turn. So all we have to do is survive this turn. Well, we'll see. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we can cast this too. So between the cast out and the Blessed Alliance, it's probably pretty hard for us to lose this turn. And next turn we just Supreme Will into it, and if they have main deck negates, they have main deck negates. It's not the end of the world. Still, they're going to be hitting us for 4, 7, 8, 9, like 15, 16, potentially like 17-ish? Potentially like 18-ish with a second Harness Lightning? Excuse me. But we have the 2 spells, so like, that's not all going to happen. Let's go ahead and yield to this trigger. I'm tired of having to press F2 every time. That's technically 18. $16. $14. $14 for Harness Lightning, by the way, if you're wondering why I'm doing the math like that. Because he's not played a removal spell this game, and he's kept that 1 card the whole time. You're just assuming he has a Harness Lightning, can do an additional damage if he felt like it. Considering he's 24 cards deep in his deck and has only drawn 1 or 2 removal spells, that's pretty fortunate for him. Yeah, so here's the Harness Lightning that I expected, that I've thought he's had for a while. And the 14 damage. Oh, he didn't do it. He's saving it for an opposing or following turn. That's fine. That's technically better. Just go ahead and go get our approach now. It'll be in these 5 cards, or 4 cards. Rip. And then we play the approach. My stomach's killing me. This stream might get called off much earlier than I expected. I like to bring in the full sideboard package versus these guys, including the Hours of Revelation, because Chandra scares me so much. By the way, we won that game because of all the incremental life we gained with our authority, I believe. Yeah, my stomach is absolutely crushing me. Logging on for 1 match counts as a stream, right? Please? Please, Plux? Do you count as a stream? We'll cut an additional Supreme Will on the draw. I wonder if you guys can hear my stomach growling, because my stomach is certainly devastating me at the moment. I really hope you guys can't hear my stomach growling, and I apologize if you can. It can't be helped. I'm actually going to play the farmland first because we don't have the land drops. I would cycle the illumination before I would cycle the cast out, so I would have played the island had we not drawn this. That's a good one for him. Puts a lot of pressure on us pretty quick, especially if he like gets to ramp into a Hydra right now when we don't have an answer. If he just attacks and we get to kill that for Blessing Alliance, we are not upset. Not upset at all. Yes, it will probably be on, I believe, Denver's Central Time, so I'm not sure, but probably like 11-ish our time, maybe. That was a good one for him, but we didn't have a counterspell for it anyway, so like not killing the servant gained us 0 equity. It'll be interesting to see whether he attacks this turn or not. Would literally counterspell anything he can try to resolve here. Alright, well, that's unfortunate for us. Our mana's going to be tied up the next couple turns, so I'm going to go ahead and impulse of this. Looking for, like, a land, a cast out. I guess those would be the things I want the most. We'll also take a Fumigate. Going to be cast outing on this, though. So, oh, a Glare. That's interesting. But that can deal with the next threat that he resolves, so we'll take that one. I don't want him to draw an additional card, so I'm just going to go ahead and slam Cast Out here, which puts us in a hard spot if he draws the Chandra and or plays the Chandra, but letting him just draw an extra card seems pretty bad for us as well. Oh, he's got a ton of extra lands apparently. Or he just didn't want to come into play tap land. I'm not sure which. Alright, so now he's got his blue mana. And he tapped the double red first, so it looks like this will be the Chandra that I was afraid of. And that's going to be extremely difficult for me to beat. Like, just extremely difficult for me to beat this Chandra now, because we've only got the 2 more cast outs, and if we draw the Hour, it's a nombo with our current cast out, which is one of the reasons that we're wanting to cut the Hour from the deck. One of the reasons we're wanting to cut the Hour from the deck. Sure. Yeah, if he's got a negate to protect his Chandra, we're in soup's bad shape. To steal words from the internets. Sure. Well, I'm going to cycle this to get a little extra information before we Glimmer. And then we're just going to Glimmer and hope that we hit. There's a cast out. Still not in good shape here. He's got 2 cards left in hand. This is going to be able to make 3 tokens, so he has an attack for 8 while we're at 5. I'm assuming it'll be about 11 to 12 our time. I think they'll start with round 0. Hopefully we'll get a Michael Jacob feature. I messaged Mr. Hagen requesting it, but you never know. Our dream here is for this man just to cast like Glorybringer. That's not a Glorybringer. I will waste this Effort Meltdown just to protect damage, because he could have a negate for the Fumigate, so... And if he untaps and has another Chandra, we're obviously dead. Oh, I have to tap blue mana? Rip. But, so this puts us down to 8. Alright, well that's not a Chandra at least. So we're just hoping he doesn't have a negate here. Or that he gets greedy and plays another creature. That'd be great too. Not greedy. So forced an island. So if his last card's negate, we're in super bad shape. If it's not negate, we're not in real bad shape. Like we'll still have one draw step to find a negate if he does, or sorry, we'll have one draw step to find another Fumigate if he does have the negate. We have an Immobilizing Glare to kill a Harvester. Alright, well, we're in decent shape now. Glimmer. I kind of want both of those, but I'm going to put that one on the bottom. I'll leave this one on top because it might be easy. Well, the one we put on the bottom we obviously draw because it's Modo, and that's how Scry works on Modo, but like it's not that bad of a card to have, so I'm not really even that upset that we drew it. Oh. Alright, opponent's done. We drew too many cards. There's currently 2, and I'm thinking about pushing a third up. Thinking about calling a third up. But there's currently 2. Let's throw the deck list up for people. For those who care, the commander deck we're playing this week is probably this deck. From what I've asked my viewers, most of my viewers don't care about commander, but if you do, this is probably what we're playing this week in commander. In the challenge Saturday. Might do some changes, like the Brain Magnet and a couple of cards don't seem wonderful, but anyway, let's throw up the standard deck since the YouTube people often don't click the link down below. Or down below in the YouTube description. And for anybody new, there's a link to my Twitter down below, and on my Twitter you see every time I go live, all the deck lists I play, and a link to the YouTube. Just wonderful little things. We got 2 meltdowns and kind of an irrelevant card. This is probably a mulligan. Yeah, we'll mulligan. This hand's basically the exact same hand we had before, but I think it's much better. That first match lasted a half an hour. I was really wanting the stream to be over in like an hour 45. It's looking closer to 2.5 at this particular rate. It sounds obviously bad, but with the 2 spells and a sensor to cycle, if we do ever get the first blue, I think it's worth more than a mulligan by a lot. I think it's worth more than a mulligan by a lot. I think it's a lot better in the first hand too, even though they looked very similar. Where on the first hand I had a bunch of blue sources and the 2 meltdowns and the 1 fumigate. Like I have to draw multiple white sources to make that first fumigate work. All right, right on time. Right on time. Actually would have censored to serve a conduit if given the opportunity, but what is coming out to get us? I guess we'll immobilizing glare, or sorry, immolating glare that. I don't know why I keep saying immobilizing. I've been saying immobilizing for 3 days. And they can resolve a Hydra now, but or a Chandra. If they draw a Chandra, it's obviously oh god, good lord, friends. Pummeler. I wonder how good of a match Pummeler is, and or bad of a match Pummeler is. Pummeler's my bae. If anybody's new to the channel, they can look on the YouTube or the VODs and see that we played like a week and a half of Pummeler. I couldn't figure out how to beat the mono red match, so I gave up, but I actually liked Pummeler versus the entire rest of the format. Now keep in mind this was earlier in the format and decks have changed since then, but yeah. Absolutely love Pummeler. Well, that's good for us. That means he's not killing us with Fling, but we had the Supreme Will to stop the Fling anyway. Hopefully he just goes all out. Sure. Would you like to spend the rest of your energy, friend? We are a Blessed Alliance deck. Get blessed. We are a Blessed Alliance deck. That can still kill you at any opportunity, so even though we just took a big jump forward, remember at some point we have to cast a 7 mana sorcery speed spell to win this game. And they could just have a pummeler in their hand and kill us with Fling without ever attacking, so that's why I think this match is probably bad for us. Like, they literally just have to wait until we tap 7 mana for an approach, and then they can win. They don't have to play any of this mamsy pamsy having to attack UBS. Fortunately, most people who played a Pummeler deck haven't literally put in hundreds of hours of testing with it and don't know things like that. Which is a great boon for us. And you can almost assume that he's got blessed or that he's got blossoming defense in his hand based on how he's played this game. Um, probably fine sending the cast out away, so I'll go ahead and glimmer. I'll go ahead and leave the white up with the glimmer instead of the blue. I was trying to decide whether it was better to see if I hit a censor or what, but actually don't want either of those cards, believe it or not. I know we need more lands to win, but we need more spells to win as well. Go ahead and see if we can hit a land with this. And we did not. Yes, technically that was a mistake. If I'd played the Censor before the authority, I could have held up for Glimmer. And would have held up for Glimmer. I just wouldn't have played the authority. So that was a minor mistake. Should have thought about it a little bit. It's definitely a mistake though. Our opponent's just not drawing any of his like 20-ish creatures or whatever. That's erroneous. Not concerned about it. There's more sensors in the decks than cast outs now, so leave the white mana up. Actually, going to put that one on top. Oh, well, there's a cast out. That's a good card. We have a lot of things to play at the end of our opponent's turn now. Go ahead and start with this one. And hopefully our opponent will waste a Blossoming Defense or something on it. Does he have two? He does in fact have two. Well, I believe that is all of our cast outs now, so. Now he's just trying to resolve a big boy of some kind. Actually, still going to save the Supreme Will here and just go ahead and sacrifice this thing. The Supreme Will is still useful at this point in the game, even though it's quickly losing its usefulness. Sure, it doesn't attack for enough to win yet, without using a bunch of mana, which stops us from getting fling killed. You're saying you don't like the blue-red match? Yeah, I don't think the blue-red... I think Approach beats blue-red. Round 5 yesterday was the first time I think I played versus on stream, and I just very easily... You just have so many answers, they have so few threats. I mean, he had to know we had this. We've gone like 34 cards deep. Oh, you think blue-red crushes Approach? It's pretty hard post-board, but the builds that are just playing 4 Gearhulk's main and 4 Wandering Fumarole's main, it's almost impossible to lose to those decks. I don't. I do mill. Like, milling is the plan. Milling is the plan. That is what I'm trying to do. Like, the second I see them play Wandering Fumarole, the whole game I just try to mill them. Make sure I draw less cards than them with our card draw spells, and there's generally not enough time to finish a game 2 or 3, especially in paper. But also, you can sneak approaches through in the late game. Don't know why our opponent's sitting here waiting all of this time. Maybe he's just thinking about throwing 5 at our face or something? Hello, opponent. Hello, opponent. The build that we've been playing the last couple of days has 6 spells for that. We're also playing Immolating Glare now. So like we're still playing Immolating Glare. Or currently trying Immolating Glare. So we have 6 ways to kill a Fumarole currently. Fumarole is the one card. If they draw a bunch of Fumaroles early, it's a little hectic. But you can just like slam an approach on 7 mana too, which if you slam an approach on 7 mana, you basically shut them off 3 mana the entire game, which is really good for a deck. It really depends on what build of the deck you think they're going to be on, but I typically bring in at least these 4 cards, and sometimes some number of these other 6 creatures. Some of the cards I cut a couple fumigates. You leave some fumigates in because they can often sneak down a Dragon Master Outcast, and you have to play that kind of weird game. I often sideboard out the 2 Authority of Councils, and then sometimes it really depends on which build you're playing, but the Ephraim Meltdowns are pretty safe to sideboard out as well. And I'm kind of sick, so I believe I'm going to log out after this match if I make it even to the end of this match. Our opponent is crushing me, so he is deciding just to do 5 damage to me. That's fine. Yeah, well, he's changed his mind again. Yeah, I am feeling it. It's going pretty bad right now for me. I wish our opponent would play slightly faster. We'll take a Glimmer. Put these 3 cards on the bottom. That's 6 cards that we've scrapped to the bottom, so we have to be fairly close to our spells. Probably get there after this turn. I'll go ahead and gain 4 Sackadoot again, friend. That cuts off some of his energy. It is the 3rd Blessed Alliance we've drawn this game. We've also not saw Fumigate in over our top 30 cards, so like even if he resolves a Bristling Hydra or something, there's a good chance we find a Fumigate. Now that's a bit of an issue. We don't have another cast out on the deck, so that is a bit of an issue. We'll keep both. Go ahead and play this one, and so approach is 7 cards down. Hopefully we don't die this turn. There's a good chance that we could, I guess. How much land do we have? We have 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we sacrifice a land. Sure. So that's a 9-point attack. I believe we're going to be shy on lands. 1, 2, 3. Nope. We've got enough lands. We win next turn, so he's got to win this turn. So this is one of the sweet things about Derivalates. Sure. We'll take our 11. Alright, well, so mill ourselves for 4. Just puts it 3 cards from the top. That puts it 2 cards from the top. That puts it 1 card. And that's us drawing it. And rivulets are good in this deck. I wonder if that's how you pronounce that, or if I'm just pretending that's how you pronounce that. You can do the same thing, though. Like, you can just optimize your hand the exact same way. You have as many card draw spells as they do. Even more. You have the 4 Supreme Wills, and they rarely have 4 Supreme Wills. Like, you can play the Drago game right back with them. I'm not actually sure how I should sideboard this match. I'm going to assume that just, like, all of our, I'm going to assume that all of our sweepers are pretty good. I'm going to, assume that negates are good, too. We'll cut out some of these slower draw spells. I don't think I want to get rid of the Supreme Will, so we're just going to get rid of the other Glyphic here. This should be fine. The Hours, again, is really bad with the cast out, but I want a 4th way to beat Chandra. This hand's not good, but I believe it's a keep on the draw. On the play, I would most assuredly mulligan this. Think it's worth keeping on the draw. It's a fairly thin keep, though, to be honest. So we have to draw a lot of lands before that's useful. This is a fairly thin keep. I don't think it's a horrible keep. I think it's pretty close to being on the line. It's really hard for me. I have problems evaluating keeps that are on the line, but that's just me. Well, that was a considerably decent draw. And we'll go ahead and Immolating Glare here. He can't really resolve anything but Ronus that I care about. And spoiler, I don't care about Ronus either. Yeah, it's literally about being super patient. Like, you just don't want to do anything versus them. Tireless Tracker's a good one. You have to be absurdly patient. Like, when you're trying to mill them, you have to just be absurdly patient. Well, I guess we'll censor that one then. Don't want him to get 2 of them. It's going to be fairly hard to beat the 1, especially if we don't hit lands. So, him getting 2 of them would probably be something I couldn't beat. And he's going to get another clue minimum. Hope you guys didn't hear that sneeze. I did try to get to the mute, and we missed the land, so this game is going to spiral out of control pretty hard for us now. We at least get to kill it, but I may not even attack there if I was him. I might have just sat underneath my card. Really depends on what the other 2 cards in his hand is. Alright, well, we have to look for a land. This is how this deck most commonly loses. You just miss land drops. You just miss like a million land drops and you can't really win, but whatever. Happens. Him not having Chandra would be great here. Ouch. I guess he has something to do with his mana because he didn't sack the clue prior. Alright, well, we don't really have counter spells, so that's not something that's particularly scary, so. I have no hard counter spells for creatures. Sockly Dockley. Sure. We'll cast a Blessed Alliance. We'll break even on life on the turn. And it might make him commit another card out of his hand. And more importantly, he doesn't have enough mana left over to cast a Chandra or anything as of yet. Chandra's the card we care most about. Rip. Again, missing land drops is why we lose. We've now missed 2 this game. It's a pretty big hit. We're dead next turn unless we get somewhere. Well, not dead next turn. So I guess that's something. You could have a pump spell, I guess, and we're still dead. Like multiple pump spells, rather. One wouldn't be enough, but... What was this, a Glorybringer? We're not dead to a Glorybringer. Are dead to a Glorybringer and a removal spell, though. Or a pump spell. So we'd be at 1 if he has a Blossoming Defense. Pretty hard to win from 1, but... you miss a bunch of land drops, what do you do? Alright, well. I cast out, and... well, we're not dead, but we're pretty much dead. We can look for another Blessed Alliance. Nope, not a Blessed Alliance, so dead. That's what happens when you don't get into lands, but whatever. It's not that big of a deal. I didn't see him play any pump spells or anything, so I actually believe these cards get considerably better then. So he's not playing those type of spells. I think it's much safer to go with just getting a bunch of blocker thingies. A bunch of blocker duties. We're going to leave Censors over Wills, but that's because he showed us what he showed us. This hand's pretty good. It's about everything we want. About everything we want. If he's trying to beat us down without comboing, might as well just get little blockers out there. Oh, play this one. He doesn't have a haste 2-drop, so. He showed us this one. Short. Possibly will Immolating Glare that. Really depends on what he plays. But definitely Immolating Glare it now. We'll just let him resolve whatever he wants to resolve. Showed us the mountain. Ronus is the only thing he can resolve that I even moderately care about. Rip. It's the only card he could resolve that we even moderately cared about in that spot. So this is a Bristling Hydra. Oh, no. This is a Leopard. We can't do anything about it. But we can kill Duronis. I'm willing to take 4 damage and just cast our Glimmer here. I don't really care about killing the Leopard. And now that the Leopard can make his other things uncounterable, he's more likely to add something to the board. Prefer him adding a Bristling Hydra as opposed to a Glorybringer. Don't really want to take haste damage. Alright, well, we'll just Glimmer, I guess. Maybe he'll play a 2-drop if we go ahead and Glimmer. We'll keep this one. We'll put this one on the bottom. Oh, cool, a Sensor. We get to cycle the Sensor too? Blessed Alliance is a nice draw. Fortunately, he didn't play a 2-drop like I was hoping. Intervention would suck, but not a lot of them play it. Have a Blessed Alliance for any type of Hydra or anything that gets too big. We're in pretty good shape here. There's some chance that we can just win with the Linvala. Oh wow, he did leave the combo in. Well, that's it's actually unexpected. We didn't see any pump spells at all game 1, and he had to use almost all of his cards. Or sorry, game 2, and he had to use almost all of his cards. We did not expect there to be a pummeler type thingy going on at all. And another pummeler. Oh god. And another fumigate. Alright. Well, I have considered it. It's something that I want to test in the main, but I've not gotten around to testing it yet. But I have considered it. It is something that I do want to test. It's something I very much want to test. Well, Bristling Hydra is kind of a real card. Just go ahead and approach. We're 7 cards away from winning. It's something I want to try pretty hard. We still have a Blessed Alliance, and we still have a Linvala to like gain life and or stall. I mean, the Linvala doesn't really gain life for a while, but it does soak up 5 points of damage. What is this? This is a Glorybringer. Well, that's a bunch of damage. It'll actually be enough for the Linvala to gain us value. Which is pretty nice. Oh, it is not enough for the Linvala to gain us value. He stopped. So we can just win next turn. For sure. I was not playing, that was not me, you must have looked at somebody else. I was not playing the Gideons or the Quellers. So if I Glimmer and put 2 cards on bottom, and hit land, we'd be able to Blessed Alliance, Shrivel it, and win, but nah. I guess it's safe to guess Castle Invala. I guess it's safe just to Castle Invala. Gives us another blocker. I was trying to decide whether it was safer to go for Linvala or go for the win next turn because we had a chance to where we could guaranteed win on our next untap step, but because of flings and stuff, I can't guarantee that we'll get another untap step. So I think it's better just to clean the board. And this cleans the board pretty well. We don't gain the 5 life here, but we gain a quote-unquote theoretical 8 points of blockers. I think this cleans the board the best. I guess a Harness Lightning would be pretty brutal for us here. Yeah, the Mill Deserts have been great, and we're also trying a couple Immolating Glares over a couple Meltdowns. That, however, has not been really great. Not sure how to evaluate that one yet. It's not been particularly awesome. There's been spots that it's been good, spots that it's bad. So we're trying it for one more league to give it a little more of a test. So he's going to exert. Be curious which one he kills. Probably just kills the angel. Well, that's the one that we wanted him to go for. And since we're still in the attack phase, I can make him kill the big bristling Hydra as well. I'm not worried about a brawler. It's 5 cards down now, so we definitely get to it on our draw step. It's kind of safe just to go ahead and cast a cast out here. Because all we have to do is Glimmer and put 2 arbitrary cards on the bottom and we draw it for our draw step guaranteed. So he's got to deal 21 damage as an instant to me, which his deck can do. His deck can't really do with only 2 cards and 8 life, but his deck can do. So just put these 2 cards on the bottom, and then we draw an approach for the turn. Hello, approach. Got him. This match, I think our opponent played it a little odd. I don't think you have to try to attack to win with Pummeler. Oh, well, insta-Q. What are we at? About an hour, yep. This is going longer than I wanted to. Our opponent's 4-0, so we're the roadblock to 5-0. This hand's acceptable. It's a little on the bad side if he's playing exactly mono red, but he mulliganed. We have 2 lands, we have a scry, we have 2 removal spells that we can play with said 2 lands. So, we'll just see what's going on here. We'll go ahead and play this Authoritative Councils and try to gain some life. We'll see whether he's on. If he's on the Stitched Wing deck, our deck just can't beat it. If he's on the Gifts Hollow One deck, it's kind of an interesting game. Like, it's beatable. If he's on Riddle Form, which is what he could very well be on, it's kind of an interesting game. It'll come down to how many Favored Visions and things he draws. Oh, it is Riddle Form. Riddle Form is our Ode Bay, by the way. For anybody who's watched the stream, Riddle Form and Pummeler are probably the 2 decks we've played the most prior to falling in love with this deck, anyway. We've currently fallen in love with this deck, so No dispel, please. That would be just grand. Just grand. No dispel, please. Ooh, a second, do not want to cycle that. I want to play that. Thank you. Still have a Censor in case the card that he's wanting to play is a Chandra, which, again, this deck kind of struggles a little bit with Planeswalkers. So, go ahead and try to get opponent to sacrifice this. If he just has land Favored Minds, things get a little hard. But he could have got a Favored Minds in play at some other point in the game anyway. Like, we're not really going to be able to stop that. We do have cast out, so we're not just dead to Chandra, but like we have to find them if he has things like that. Collective Defiance, sure, we don't care about taking damage. Our opponent's 4-0, so Riddle Form can still compete. I wonder how it is versus Mono Red. Again, Mono Red's one of the reasons I've gave up playing so many of the decks that we love. Post board, this match has to be pretty hard, I would imagine. Because post board, they pick up just a bunch of negates, and they still have all of their clock stuff. And we don't have anything special. I guess we get to bring in carousels, or caracols, and Linvalas, but that's often just not enough. We're cherry picking cards that he could play. We would cherry pick him playing a Storm Chaser Mage right now. Not that it can do anything because of our enchantment, but that's like the most dead card he could have. Just looking for lands. I'm going to take nothing but a land with this. I don't care what the card is. Alright. So now we have an approach. There's nothing I'm casting on this turn at all. Not going to cycle the Censor either. Going to save it to help us get back to approach. So 7 cards down. And he could have negates and things, so like just getting to this approach doesn't necessarily mean we win. Short. That's fine, down to 18. It is now 6 cards down, and that means we can draw it on our next turn thanks to our Rivulet. Rivulets do God's work, friends. I'm really glad that we're getting to see how good the Rivulets are. Sure, take 2, don't care. Take 3, don't care, and he's tapped out. Go ahead and save time by milling ourselves. Yes, sacrifice it to itself. So now it's 2 cards down. Censor. Now it's 1 card down. Censor, draw it. And we have 7 mana in play. Didn't even need to cast that second Censor, but I was hoping he would concede from the game without making us waste any more time, and he did. Alright, so in this match, I actually think the 40s are fine. I think incremental life gain's pretty good here. And I just like being able to play spells at a decent mana cost because our curve's going way up and fevered visions, or fevered visions, I keep saying fevered Fevered Visions is the card we care most about. So we're just going to lower the crap out of our curve. Just going to lower the crap out of our curve. Don't know if we need any fumigates at all. But we'll see how this works out. I guess it's arguable that we could bring one of the visions, or we could bring in our hours in to try to kill one of his visions, but then we didn't draw a authority this game, which is a little saddening, but hopefully we won't take too much damage between now and then. Well, that was great. We go ahead and get the sensor online, see if we get some value out of it. If not, we'll probably cycle at least a cast out, possibly the sensor with the cast out. All depends on what he's playing, and that's his best card versus us. We also have cast outs to beat him too, but once he starts drawing, it's a little difficult. We just have a thundering amount of life gain right now. So we basically just have to hit land drops. Yeah, that's disappointing. So we have 2 draws to hit a land drop here. That's not a land drop, and that's not a land drop. So odds are we're going to lose. Well, if I have to discard a card, we're going to discard an approach. Our other cards are better than approach in this spot, and we still need to try to get to the land. Riddle Form, we'll try to negate. Mostly wanting him just to tap mana and maybe try to protect it or whatever, so we can try to resolve another cast out. And we really need to get that land now. So that was 3 draw steps last turn. With the extra, I mean, we've just drawn a lot of cards, so not getting the land is pretty ridiculous, to be honest. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. We were 15 cards deep in our deck and not hit our 4th land. Just about as insane as it can come. Sure. Sure. Can't do anything about that one. We have to kill this. Problem is, he's going to be down to 1 card. He's going to be able to at least put us at 4. He could also just have a dispel here as well. So do we draw an untapped land on our 17th draw step? What do you guys think? We're probably dead no matter what now. Yeah, we're just dead. Alright. That happens. Sometimes you draw a billion cards and don't hit your lands. I don't think that game was losable if we did hit our land. Alright, so we'll bring in this Caracal and get rid of this Fumigate on the play. There's an argument that I could have done that on the draw as well. Probably should have done that on the draw. It's kind of frustrating to lose a game like we just lost. He had to have the double visions, and we had to miss 1,000 land drops. Alright, well, this hand's fine. Again, it's not good, but we have sensors to try to peg his good card. This hand might be able to even get under a visions. Go ahead and delete this. The Limvala, and the odds of us being able to get to the Limvala are very high this game. So that's pretty good. We'll censor any spell that we can censor because we have land drops. Saving the Blessed Alliance for later because we can gain 4 life with it and kill a thing, or we can just gain 4 life, which is a lot better than what Censor does on its own. He hit some land drops. Maybe just let him resolve visions and hit our land drops. G to G. We don't need to land drop this turn, so we're just going to take our spell. Yeah, opponent's not playing anything. Not sure why. Again, we have the land drop, so I'm just not going to bother to use the center yet. As long as we have land drops, I'm not going to use the sensor. If he's not playing anything, there's a chance that he tries to play 2 spells in a turn or something, and we can ping something with it. Sideboarded all 4 Supreme Wills out, so. Visions, not that worried about a Visions. A point in the game where him getting divisions isn't really that bad for us. We'll go ahead and cycle this, however, and see if we can hit a... we did not. There's a cast out, so... maybe we can sneak this cast out in on divisions. We'll take 2 damage this turn, for sure. Mainly because I want to be at least 18 life for when we try to resolve the Linvala. Go ahead and see if our opponent will waste a spell here. Just going to cast a Linvala next turn. Oh, well, I guess we're not going to cast a Linvala anymore. Just going to tap out and play this approach. Gains us 7 life back, so we go to 25, back to 23, and... what the hell? Oh, sure. Made us lose 7 life, that's fine. Back to 16, so he won't kill us on this turn. That was a pretty good play. I wasn't thinking about that card. Don't think he can kill us from 16 right now. That card is, oh, well, he tapped all his mana, so our other approach is just going to win. He done that in the wrong order as well. Yeah, if he didn't have a counter spell, I guess that was the right play. If he did have a counter spell, I don't think he should have did that. Oh well, we stopped an opponent's 5-0. Onward to the next game. What are we at? We're at about 1 hour and 20. For the new viewers, there's a link down below. That is to my Twitter. And on my Twitter, there is a link to my YouTube, and also every deck list I play and every time I go live is also there. Thank you for following Kiki1431343. Yeah, I can read. I appreciate it. So we're 3-0. We're on a 11-game win streak right now. 11-game win streak's kind of fun. Yeah, we got 2 lands. We'll keep. This hand's not great. Our opponent went to 5. This hand gets considerably better. Down to 4, says our opponent. Down to 4 and we have a sensor. When our opponent's on 4 and we have a sensor, that's almost a hard counter, right? Sure. We'll go ahead and play this, even though it's a little greedy. I could just hold up the thing. Play this and press F6. I don't know if I'm going to F6. Kind of want more lands, but I also want to protect all the good men and boys with this sensor. Be interested to see which or what random green deck our opponent's playing. If it's ramp, we could actually still be in a lot of trouble even though he's down to 4 cards. I wouldn't concede after he shows us the forest, because I'm going to sideboard versus the forest decks all the same. So versus the forest decks, every one of them, I'm going to take out these Authority of the Councils, and I'm going to bring in a minimum of these 6 cards. Now, if he showed us that he was playing the Delirium build of green-black, where he had the Lilianas and the Nissas, we would also bring in Hours of Revelation, but we don't know that, and the Torrential Gearhulk gets better or worse depending on what builds they are, but there's more builds that I think it's good versus than they are that's bad versus. Green decks in general, rather, that it's good versus than bad versus. So I'll err on the side of caution and bring them in. Generally cut one approach versus all of those decks. If it's the black deck, they have Transgresses, they have Lost Legacies. If it's the Teamer version, they have Negates and stuff. So it's just harder for us to win with a 7-mana sorcery. I like to leave some of them in because they have to respect them and it affects how they do their sideboarding, but like you just don't want all of them. So 6 and a card on top. So it looks like he's either a Teamer build or a red-green build. I guess we'll start with this one. We don't really have anything to play anyway. It's a nice little cubby decub. Alright, well we'll cycle this then, I guess. And the cub is a pretty brutal card. I will try to Blessed Alliance the cub. Don't care if he resolves something after the Blessed Alliance. The only card he could resolve that is very bad for us is the Fumigate. Or sorry, is the Ronus. It's the only thing that the Fumigate can't deal with on 3 lands is what I'm trying to say. Oh, he's playing Brawlers, so he could just be pummeling. Could just be pummeling. Need to get this game over with because, again, I'm kind of sick. In fact, I might actually have to stop the stream in the middle of this game. I'll take the Caracal here. It just gives us a lot of blockers. Willing to block it with literally the whole team. I'll trade this for his Fang and a bunch of life. I don't really care. He's playing that build of the deck, so approach is how we're going to try to win anyway. He could have like a pump spell or something and kill them all, but Again, we gain a bunch of life if that happens, and that's fine. Sure. And I apologize, guys, but I have to go for now.